this video, we're going to talk about setting up some GitHub Actions. So GitHub Actions are great when you're working with a team or just want to get away from running all of these tests locally, which we've been doing so far in this series. The goals for this video are to understand the purpose of continuous integration, and then to build out and trigger our first GitHub action workflow. So if you're not familiar with the process of continuous integration or continuous deployment, often referred to as CI/CD, continuous integration is a process where teams of multiple developers will be able to contribute to a single code base on a continuous basis. And then continuous deployment is kind of the next step where we have these contributions and then we're able to set up some workflows that allow us to deploy our new updates to that code base. So the benefit of setting up these GitHub Actions is that we have multiple developers on a team contributing to a single code base, and we can ensure that everything is functioning as it should by setting up a GitHub action to run our tests each time that a given event takes place. So in our case, we're going to be setting up an action to run our Cypress tests anytime that somebody pushes a new commit to our code base. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what it's all about. Okay, so here we have my GitHub account with the Cypress example kitchen sink project inside of it, and you can see that it's forked from the Cypress main account. And so if you go over to the Actions tab, you'll probably see a green button and some text, something along the lines of understanding the consequences or understanding kind of what you're doing when you're setting up GitHub Actions. So it's basically just saying like, hey, you've forked this project. When you're running actions, just make sure that you know what they're doing so that they're set up correctly and you don't mess up your project or the upstream project. And so you can go ahead and click that green button, and then you should see a blank kind of workflows screen like you see here. So from there, we can flip back over to our tests. And what I've done in here is I've cleaned up some of the other. So we had a couple of like other before each and after hooks and things like that kind of peppered throughout as we went through this series. And so those are cleaned up now. And what we want to do is inside of this .github/workflows directory, you probably will see, a series of like 7 or 8 different files, workflow files. I've gone ahead and deleted those because I don't want all of them to run every single time. If you want to leave them in, that's fine. You'll just have more actions running on your Actions tab. So I've cleaned that up. I've deleted them. Inside of this workflows folder, I'm going to create a new file and call it main.yml. So GitHub Actions will look inside of this workflows folder, and then any YAML files that tell GitHub to run that action, GitHub will listen to it and run that action on your GitHub account. So we'll go ahead and set this up. We can give it a name. We can call it Cypress Tests. You can call that whatever you want. Then we give it a trigger, and we'll do this whenever we push a new change to our project. And then we give it a series of jobs. Notice when I hit enter, VS Code knows that I'm in a YAML file and it takes care of indenting for me. That's important in these YAML files. If you're writing your action without attention to indentation, then they're not going to run correctly. So we have our jobs. We're going to call it Cypress Run. We're going to tell it which image to run on, and we're going to direct it to run on the latest version of Ubuntu. These steps, so we can give this a name, and we can say this is going to check out the project. And then it uses the standard checkout action. And then from there, we are going to use the Cypress maintained GitHub action that will handle installing our dependencies, running our project, and running our tests for us, all bundled in nicely into this action. So it uses cypress-io/GitHub-action at v2. And again, this is maintained by Cypress. And we'll give it a let it know what to use as its build command, which is npm run build. And we just get that from our package.json file. And then start, we can tell it to npm run start, or just npm start in this case. So if we give this a save, we can add our new file with a git add dot. We can commit with setup workflow. And then we can push. And now that it's successfully pushed, GitHub should recognize that change. It should see the new main.yml file. And then if we go over to that Actions tab, we can actually see our tests running remotely. So let's flip back over to GitHub. And here we can see already setup workflow. That was the name of our commit. And inside of here, if we pop it open, we can see Cypress run is happening. I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and then when the tests are finished up, we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened. Okay, so it took a little over a minute, and we can see that we've got this nice red circle with an X through it. So let's take a look at what happened. If we click inside of setup workflow, we can open up our Cypress run. And it actually scrolls down to the error. So it says Cypress test 1 failed. At the end of this file, it gives us a nice summary of the number of tests that were run, the number that we're passing, and the number that we're failing. So for the most part, we did a pretty good job, but we do have one failing test. If we scroll up, we can see the one failing test. It says renders the correct H1 text. After 4 seconds, it expected to see kitchen sink, but it actually saw actions. So what that means is that we wrote a test that was incorrect. We told it to expect something that wasn't actually there. But other than that, you can see this nice series of green checks, and then it spits out the error, and that's super easy to fix. So if we go back into our test, expected to see kitchen sink on renders the correct H1 text. So kitchen sink, and just to double check, it should actually see actions here. So instead of kitchen sink, we just save that. Now we can commit that change. And I'm going to do git commit -am because we just modified a file. And we'll say update H1 test. And we'll push that. And I'll pause one more time and we'll take a look at hopefully a series of 100% successful tests. Now that our tests are finished running, we can see a nice green check mark. So we updated our H1 test. And this lets us know that all of our tests passed. And we can confirm that if we go into our Cypress run. If we scroll down to our summary, we can see all the green check marks. 21 were passing, 0 were failing. So pretty cool. Lots of insights from setting this up. Not only does this give you a nice sort of dashboard indicating the results of your tests, but it also takes away the headache of running all of these tests locally. And then if you're working on a team, this ensures that all of your tests will continue to pass as new features are shipped if you're on a team that runs this sort of continuous integration flow like many teams do. So thanks so much for following along. If you're looking to learn more in the meantime, be sure to check out our blog and community pages as seen here. So thanks again, and until next time, have a good one.